Hello Mindfulness Project family, it's Patreon time again, and today is the last day of our 10-day coconut juice fast. And there's not a lot of energy in my brain, so if I'm mumbling stupid things, just write in the comment below or send me an email. Christian, that was nothing. We got a request from Nathan, and he was asking me, Christian, can you please talk about how I can co-create community in my environment where I'm staying? So this is an awesome subject. Stay tuned. Okay, why is this such an amazing topic? If you have in mind now, oh, I'm not going to create a community and about to hit the stop button, don't do it, because you'll find out this is a subject which is important for all of us, because the current pandemic has shown us two things. You know, like in most of our countries, people have survived financially, but we can see that it's a really, really deep impact on literally everybody, because for now 1.5 years we haven't been able to live community. We haven't been able to live what's most important for us, the intimate relationships. And it's really interesting because research about crisis in the past, like before the Second World War, or in the end of the World War, have shown that these people survive best who have a really great network. It's not about this single survival guys who can just make their way through or something like this. No, it's about people who are good in connecting with other people and forming communities and forming circles where we support each other. And that's one of the most important things in life. Also, they have made a research, the longest study on this planet, I talk about this so many times, where they have followed two different groups, one very rich and one very poor group, through life. And they found out no matter how rich you are, how much money you have, no matter what's going on in your life, one of the main pillars of happiness in your life is actually your social network. And when we are not able to live that how it has been in the last year, then we're getting depressed, then we are lacking energy, and then our life becomes much less happy and beautiful. So the question is, especially now, when things are, calming down in the world, the question is, how do we create communities? And we have to think communities in a different way. I'm not talking about these people moving together in one house, sleeping in one bed, interchanging clothes with each other and having sex with each other, and all this kind of hippie stuff. I mean, community can be, can have a variety of forms. Of course, you can live this if you find out this is your way of living. But also, community doesn't mean that you have to live together. There's a very, very interesting Japanese community, and they have their community and their center, and then they have people living in the city, but they are, a vital part of this community. They have shops, they have, people who are having their own businesses, and it's an amazing community. And even if you don't even have a center, if you just a group of people who are, deeply relating to each other, then that is a community. The Mindfulness Project is not only what is here in Thailand, it's all of you guys out there caring for us, sharing your income with us, and that's a way how we can survive. So we are a worldwide community, and you are a vital part of it. And so this is a way how we have to rethink community, because the end goal of community creating is that we actually realize that our whole world is a community. So, this world makes it more and more obvious over time. The internet is just bringing us news from everywhere. And that is what will make the survival on our planet. When we once get it in our head that we are, one human family, one community, and that we have to live as such. And the question is, how do we create this? Because, we cannot wait for politicians or, big corporations to create that. It's us who have to do it. It's us who are going to create these powerful, energy balls all around the world. And that was actually my vision when I started the Mindfulness Project, that we just co-create these kind of amazing circles where we share, where we can be 100% ourselves, where we, just practice together and help each other navigating through life. And it can be one of the most powerful things. A lot of you are still connected with the group who has been with you in the Mindfulness Project at the time. And, this is just so powerful to know that there are people out there who know you down to your bones. And this is what we would like to create. So there are a couple of resources. I put the link also in the description below. And so one very, very important thing, if you just really want to create community with people in one physical place or with other people, there is a researcher, and he went around and was trying to understand, what makes communities thrive and what makes communities very, very problematic. Because I think, I don't have the numbers by heart, but I think 87% of all the communities who start are not there after 5 years. And, the remaining 13%, I think 93% of these communities who survive the first 5 years are usually spiritual communities. So this researcher was looking around and, trying to find out why over centuries and, decades and decades, the native people have managed to have very stable tribal communities. And only in the last 100 or 200 years, when things became bigger and bigger and bigger, communities were falling apart, families were falling apart, and, the individualism was just going crazy with all the negative effect it has, because community is actually something where we can share resources. If we would live together with 10 people, we would need one washing machine, maybe 2 cars, one presenter to watch some nice movies. We would need, a tenth of the things we usually use when we would all be in our single life. So this researcher was going around, and he was actually writing a book which is called Dragon Dreaming. And he went to a lot of native tribes and looked what they are doing, how they create community. So when you're coming together with people, the first thing what you should do is dreaming. That means that everybody should make a vision quest. What's my vision for my life? What's my vision for this community? And, then write it down. And then you come together and you put all these visions together and you see how much they overlap. And you need to have a very, very stable overlap in your visions. It doesn't have to be 100% the same, but the main focus, this is why spiritual communities are so powerful. The main focus is to overcome the ego and to realize, that it's not about me, mine, and that the disturbance is most of the time the self, the ego. And so if you have that as a base, you're pretty safe. And most of the time, people come together and they say, hey, we're all awesome people and we're all kind of the same, but if you just really look at the visions, you can see there is a lot of differences. So don't even try to start when people are going too much in a different direction. And you need to become clear about very, very important things at the very beginning. Like if you would create a physical community like we did with the Mindfulness Project, you need to become clear about, is alcohol allowed or not? Are drugs allowed or not? What kind of relationship model do we want to live? Absolute open relationships or committed, no sex before marriage, and everything in between. And, and also that doesn't have to be all the same. You can create a community where you have different models, but that needs to be clear for everybody. So if you have a free love community and somebody comes in with a committed relationship, it needs to be clear that, there's a variety happening. Will you have animals or not? For the Mindfulness Project, that was sometimes in some long-term volunteer groups had big problems because some could not cope with this, 7 dogs and 4 cats and, they're all everywhere and sleeping on sofas and stuff like this. So these things can be a very, very big potential to split the community very easily. And so think about, what kind of living space do you want to create? What kind of, what kind of food do you eat? We had so many discussions about veganism and vegetarianism and raw food and, what the hell. And so these things are important. So if your vision is really in line with each other, and write it down, put it somewhere, make it visible. Like any project you do, no matter what you do, even if you start a company or something like this, you need to have a strong vision. And this vision is carrying you through this process that you always remember, hey, why are we here together? And so, write it somewhere, make it visible everywhere. So the second phase is planning. And, I am such a bad planner, like my team was always going crazy because, I have my planning in my head and, I know what I want to do and I'm bad in communicating it and I'm bad in, even having people participating in this planning process. And, a lot of times I had so much resistance of my team because we were not doing this process together and we are not taking enough care to do so. So that everybody sees seen, that everybody can really participate in the process, because if people have the feeling they're just following somebody else, there will be always, resisting against it. So, and that is, one of the biggest problems also is that I usually don't take enough time. So in permaculture, for example, they say, buy a land and then observe it for 1 year before you put the first stone. It would be a nightmare for me to wait a whole year, but this actually makes sense, that you think stuff through and that you properly plan, so that you just, and permaculture is all about that, that you make a permaculture design where you really think about all the dangers, all the advantages you have, and that you make a proper plan how to keep your energy in this whole thing. All right, so that was phase 2, and phase 3 of Dragon Dreaming is actually the doing. This is the juicy part where you just really go into the doing and making. And another wish also for your life, for everything what you do, take your time. A lot of times we make ourselves so much stress with our ambitions, with what we want to achieve, our dreams, and we are impatient to get it. And it's the most important part that you actually enjoy the bloody doing, it's about the path, it's not about the goal. And anyway, the time where you thrive towards something is the most amazing time. So just prolong it a little bit. So, and the fourth one, and that is 25% of community creating is celebration, he says, that you have to have, like a rhythm and a ritual of really celebrating every little step, everything you do in your life, celebrate, what you do during the day, not only the big goals, not only the big milestones you achieve, but, everything, what you do, you go like, yeah, that was great. Every day you look back and you go like, wow. Because this is what makes our system thrive. If we have the feeling of having achieved something, and that needs mindfulness. That needs, just really going for it. So, and another book which is really great to read is A Different Drum, where this book goes a little bit deeper into the subject of, how you actually do the whole process, what are the problems, what are the pitfalls and obstacles and to overcome. So that's a great resource too. And so if you have a little bit of background knowledge, this is really, really important. But what I would like to emphasize on from my experience of creating a community is that what makes the magic of the Mindfulness Project is to find a way to bring people to a place of non-judgment. If your community is you and your partner, if your community is your family, if your community are your worker, your co-workers, no matter where in life, and especially even if your community is just yourself, the mind state of non-judgmental love is a prerequisite for creating community, because you will see that in communities you will have projections. Everybody comes with their own trauma, everybody comes with their own desires and wishes and needs. And the most important thing is that you find a space where you can talk about these needs without ego and without judging. And it goes very quick that our mind, after the beginning phase, so every community has different phases. And the first phase is the falling in love kind of phase. And this is the most exciting, and people hope that it is, lasting, forever. But believe me, it doesn't. So everybody comes with their projections, and it's very important that you just realize it's all projecting. It's me projecting on others, others projecting on me, and the whole subject of projection is so vast. Like what I had to find out is when I'm traumatized and in a certain way, and I cannot deal with a certain trauma. This is so amazing what your subconsciousness is doing. A lot of times we're seeking out for our partner or a community, and then we look for somebody which we find very emotional competent. And so it could be a teacher, it could be, like a teacher in school or an older person or something like this. And then we behave in a way how we have been treated, so that we make this person feel in exactly the same way we have felt, and we hope that this person can show us a way how to deal with our own trauma, which we cannot deal with. Is this amazing? So that's a very clever subconsciousness, but it makes it very hard for the people around you if you are a traumatized person. So whenever you have any kind of negative feeling, if you have any kind of, like fights going on and people are starting to blame you, just really have a look, what is their trauma? What are they going through? And then what you need is real big compassion. And this is what you can do to kind of prepare your own heart for community, because you will be hurt. It doesn't matter if you are in the situation of being the leader and people projecting on you. It's also the other way around. You are projecting on other people. And another thing is that people in a community have to go through a process where they look at their own shades. So their work with the shade of the people is another key for success of communities. And we did that especially in the beginning a lot, because I was so pumped with meditation and Buddhism. And I was like, hey, all this psychological bullshit is just of the mind, and we are not the mind, so forget about it. So I tried to bring people always to the positive, and I forgot that to guide them into the shade, and I forgot to look at my own shade, and then disaster is programmed. So try to do this, to prepare your heart for the deepest compassion, because love must be the foundation of every community on this planet. If it's just we want to save the world, or we want to make a lot of money, or that just doesn't last. I have so many businesses I know which started as like two people or a group of people starting the company. They fight with each other so quick. So it cannot be the ego which is the foundation of a community. It always has to be love. So I will do next week loving kindness, community loving kindness meditation with you. So really make sure you do that also for your own sake. So, and when it comes to I really want to create community. I feel the urge, and a lot of you have told me, Christian, in the Mindfulness Project, even if it was hard so many times, and I felt the longing for deeper connection with people. And how can I do that? So the first thing is you need to understand it's not a magic thing to create a community, and get the idea out of your head, I'm not good enough to create it. Why should I be the person who starts a community, who would follow me, or all these kind of things. Just try to get your negative self-talk out of the equation, and just realize everybody can do that. If you have a best friend, you can create community, and the idea is to get more knowledge so that you become better. So knowledge would be communication skills, psychological skills, meditation skills, all these things you can learn. But what you cannot learn, you just have to do is love, and to find liberation in love. So, and if you go to your heart and you say, I have this longing to deeply connect with people, just go out and see what kind of community you want to create, and it can be a lot of things. You can have a community of guys playing soccer together. Anya's father, he was a sports teacher, and every single weekend of his life, he was playing soccer with the same people in a park, and now he's over 80, and there's still young people coming to this group, and they're still hanging out with each other. They came to Thailand together. So this can be a beautiful community. So see what you're interested in, what your passion is, and what kind of thing you would like to create. And for a lot of us, it's an open community where we share, where we can be ourselves. So, and then think about, what would you like to do with these people, and just do it. You can start with, just calling people and, ask them, deep questions and see if that is leading you into a community. Or you can make a certain day of the week where you meet and where you share. The internet is full of resources. With one of my friend groups, we just took the Buddhist teachings and we started with the 5 precepts, and for a month we were observing the precepts and then talking and sharing our problems with it and our ideas and our philosophy, and that was an amazing group we created. Or we were coming together with our yoga teacher training group, and we were meeting once a month where we really deeply shared about our life and our problems, and that was such an amazing time. And we always do these things, so offer stuff to people, just find yourself a plot of land and invite people to help gardening and make that into a community. And if you want to do a bigger thing, that you just really want to create a physical community where people are living together, working together, or something like this, then it's a good idea to make a proper plan, what you're wanting to do, and then start to get people in. But it all starts with your vision. It all starts with your idea. And if you get pumped about this idea, then it's easy to influence other people. But don't be shy. Don't think you cannot do it, and just get this energy of, I'm just going to try to do whatever it takes, and just keep focusing on that goal, because community is one of the best things ever. Okay, I hope that helped. Write me in the comments which part of community building you would like to hear more about. Write which parts you haven't understood or what you liked. It would be also super nice, because a lot of people are watching our Patreon films, but nobody is hitting the thumb up button. And I never know, is this something people interest? Is this something people like or not? So if you want to do me a favor, give us a thumb up or a thumb down or comment something, that we get a better idea how we can serve you best. This is what Patreon is. This is a community channel, and this is for you. And also, if you have other questions, other topics, I would love to hear from you. What you think and what you're struggling with. I love you guys so much. Thank you all for your support, which is still helping us so much. And I see you soon next week. Thank you.